The Galaxy Council was the pride of the stars. From its great halls, decisions were made that shaped trade, war, peace, and the future of every member species. Each race had a seat. Each voice was heard, or so the Council claimed. Yet in truth, not all voices carried equal weight. The humans had learned this the hard way. When humanity first joined the Council, excitement filled Earth. The media called it the dawn of a new era. Billions watched the broadcast as Earth's representatives walked into the shining council chamber for the very first time. The chamber was a vast hall suspended above the blue clouds of the gas giant Lorraine. 1,000 alien banners hung from the high ceiling, and ships from every corner of the galaxy floated outside the station like jewels. The humans walked in proudly, wearing plain uniforms with flags stitched onto their shoulders. They felt small among the towering insectoid queens, the glowing energy beings, and the long-lived reptilian lords. Still, they carried hope. Hope that humanity's creativity and determination would find respect here. At first, things looked promising. Human engineers were welcome to fix alien machines that others found too complex. Human doctors introduced simple but effective treatments for alien illnesses. Human negotiators, often underestimated, built friendships with races who had never trusted one another before. But with time, the tone changed. The Council's elder races began to whisper, "Humans are too reckless. They move too fast. They think they can solve everything with improvisation. They are children in a hall of adults." In one meeting, a towering member of the Cryon Dominion, a species of crystalline beings, laughed openly when the human delegate proposed a new system of faster trade routes. "Luck," the Cryon said with a voice like breaking glass. "Humans stumble into ideas by chance. They are not masters of strategy. Leave such matters to wiser minds." The chamber chuckled. The human delegate forced a smile but felt the sting deep inside. This was not the first insult, and it would not be the last. Over the years, the pattern grew worse. When a disease spread through colonies, humans brought forward a cure made from a simple earth fungus. The Council accepted the cure, but during the celebration, the credit was quietly given to another species. When humans stopped a war between two rival empires by offering a creative peace treaty, the Council called it a lucky guess. Time after time, effort after effort, humanity's role was dismissed. The breaking point came during a session on galactic defense. The Council debated the growing danger of pirate fleets attacking border worlds. Many races argued for stronger walls, tighter patrols, and rigid rules of engagement. The human delegate, Ambassador Daniel Reeve, rose from his seat and spoke clearly. "Pirates adapt to walls. They adapt to rules. We should adapt faster. Use decoys. Use flexible fleets. Think like the enemy and stay one step ahead." Murmurs filled the chamber. Then the Council High Speaker, an ancient being of living gas contained in a sphere of glass, responded. "Humans," the High Speaker said, "are always chasing chaos. Your methods are disorder disguised as strategy. This Council values wisdom, not wild guesses. Your species may have spirit, but spirit is not wisdom." Laughter echoed once more. Daniel stood there, face hard. He felt the weight of centuries of human struggle, of ancestors who had crossed oceans, skies, and space itself, mocked by beings who had grown comfortable in their long reign. He sat down silent, but inside the decision had already begun to form. Later, in private chambers, the human delegation met. Men and women from Earth, Mars, and the colonies gathered around a long table. Some were angry, others tired. A few still hoped things could change. "We've given them technology," one said. "We've saved their colonies," another added. "And they laugh at us," a third muttered. Daniel looked around at them. His voice was steady. "We came here for respect. Not for praise, but for recognition that we belong. If they refuse to see it, then we must decide. Do we keep begging for a seat at their table, or do we build our own?" The room fell quiet. One by one, heads nodded, and so the humans chose. The next day, the Council chamber was full. Delegates whispered about the human request to speak. Few expected anything important. When Daniel Reeve walked to the center platform, the room stilled. His voice carried firm and calm. "Honored Council, humanity has listened. We have watched. We have served. But we will no longer stand where we are not respected. From this day forward, humanity withdraws from the Galaxy Council. We will walk our own path among the stars." Gasps spread through the chamber. Some laughed, thinking it a bluff. Others looked uneasy. A few whispered to each other, realizing what this could mean. The high speaker's voice boomed. Humanity, do not be foolish. Alone you are weak. The council is the shield of civilization. Without it, you will be vulnerable. Daniel looked up at the glowing sphere. His reply was simple. Perhaps, but we would rather stand alone with dignity than kneel with shame. With that, the humans turned and walked out. The chamber erupted into noise, some mocking, some shocked, some worried. But the humans did not look back. In the days that followed, human ships undocked from council stations. Human embassies closed, trade networks cut ties. Slowly, the presence of humans faded from council space. Many laughed. Let them go, said the reptilian lords. They will crawl back when they realize their mistake. Others smirked. They were children, and now they storm away like children. The galaxy is better off without them. But not everyone laughed. In quiet corners of the galaxy, some races whispered to themselves. They remembered the human engineers who had saved their colonies, the human doctors who had cured their sickness, the human explorers who had braved the unknown. Those few wondered if the council had just lost more than it realized. For now, the stars seemed unchanged. Trade still flowed, armies still guarded the borders, laws still passed through the council halls. Life went on, but far beyond, in the silence of deep space, human ships traveled together. They were not running away. They were seeking new worlds, new futures, a place where humanity could grow without ridicule. At first, nothing seemed different. The Galaxy Council carried on with its daily routine after the humans walked away. The chamber still shone with bright banners, alien voices still filled the halls, and decisions were still made with the same pride. Many believed humanity's departure would be a short story in a long history. Let them go, said a Cryon Crystal Lord. They will learn the galaxy is too wide for children to survive alone. They will crawl back when their colonies starve, muttered a reptilian general. They were loud but not important, buzzed an insectoid queen. Yet while the council tried to move forward, tiny cracks began to show. The first signs, the problem started small. On the edge of council space, a mining colony faced a reactor failure. Normally, human engineers would improvise a fix using whatever materials were at hand. They had a strange ability to turn broken scraps into working solutions. This time, no humans were there. The alien engineers followed strict manuals and calculations, but when the system failed again, panic spread. With no creative backup plan, the colony went dark for weeks. Not long after, a farming world faced a disease in its crops. Human doctors had once cured similar plagues with something as simple as a plant from Earth. But now, without their strange mix of science and instinct, the cure took years to find. The planet nearly starved before help arrived. Slowly, whispers began to spread. Humans would have solved this faster. The market falters. In the Council's central trade hub, merchants noticed another change. Humans had always been quick traders, willing to take risks and create connections across cultures. They were not the richest, but they were the bridges. Now, without humans, deals took longer. Races with old rivalries refused to trade directly. Goods piled up in warehouses. Profits shrank. A merchant from the Avri, a feathered species known for their caution, sighed in his stall. Humans were reckless, yes, but they brought everyone together. They would talk to anyone. Now business feels slower, colder. The market still worked, but the lively spirit was gone. The council in denial inside the council chamber. The elders tried to ignore these problems. When some delegates mentioned the missing humans, others silenced them quickly. They are not needed, said the high speaker, glowing inside its glass sphere. We must not depend on one small species. The galaxy is strong without them, said another. We have order. We have laws. We have wisdom. And so, official records made no mention of humanity. Council reports listed problems as temporary setbacks. Speeches praised the strength of the alliance. Outwardly, nothing had changed. But in private, doubts grew. The war of pirates, the real test, came at the border. Pirate fleets, always a problem, began growing bolder. Without human patrol ships to weave unpredictable traps, the Council fleet struggled. The Council followed strict strategies, square formations, defensive walls, rigid movements. The pirates, free and chaotic, exploited every weakness. They slipped past patrols, raided colonies, and vanished before the Council fleets could respond. When humans had been there, They had fought pirates with tricks, fake cargo ships, sudden ambushes, daring chases through asteroid fields. Pirates feared them. But now, the fear was gone. A reptilian general slammed his fist against a console during a lost battle. "How do we fight an enemy that refuses to follow rules?" he growled. His officers gave no answer. In whispers across the galaxy, the answer spread, humans would know. The quiet realization in peaceful worlds, ordinary citizens began to notice the difference too. In hospitals, alien patients missed the human doctors who spoke gently and offered comfort, not just medicine. In schools, alien children asked why the human exchange students had stopped coming. In colonies on the edge of danger, settlers remembered how human explorers had once stood beside them, laughing even in the face of storms. Life went on, yes. But it felt emptier. One Avery teacher explained it to her class. Humans were strange. They made mistakes, they rushed, they stumbled. But they always tried again. They made others believe that tomorrow could be better. Her feathers drooped. Now the galaxy feels quieter. The debate months after humanity's departure, the council gathered for a grand meeting. Reports of failures, trade drops, and pirate attacks filled the chamber. Delegates argued loudly, each blaming another race. Finally, a small voice rose from the back. It was an aquatic ambassador, her skin shimmering like water. "Perhaps," she said carefully, "the problem is not each other. Perhaps the problem is who is missing." The chamber went silent. "Do you suggest we need the humans?" the Cryon Lord asked, voice sharp as breaking ice. The aquatic ambassador hesitated. "I only suggest—" "We worked better when they were here." The room erupted into laughter, anger, and denial. The high speaker's voice thundered. "We are the Galaxy Council. We do not depend on a reckless young race. We are stronger without them." The session ended in chaos, yet many who laughed still felt a shadow of doubt in their hearts. The lonely stars far from the council, humanity thrived quietly. They had left behind the insults, but they had not given up. On new worlds, human settlers planted crops in strange soil. On ships, engineers built new drives. On colonies, children grew up hearing stories not of shame, but of courage. Human fleets moved together, exploring places no council ship dared to go. They found new allies, small races ignored by the council. These species welcomed humans warmly, grateful for their willingness to listen and share. Humanity was no longer waiting for recognition. They were building their own future. The whisper grows back in council space. Time passed, and the absence grew louder. A diplomat trying to calm a border dispute failed, remembering how a human negotiator once used simple jokes to break tension. A scientist stuck on a failing project muttered that a human would have found a crazy new angle. A soldier facing pirates wished for a human captain to lead the charge. Bit by bit, the council's pride began to feel heavy. They would never admit it openly, but in their hearts they knew. The galaxy without humans was less clever, less daring, less alive. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders, but hidden in its darkness were dangers long forgotten. At the very edge of council space, in the empty zones where few dared to travel, something began to stir. For ages it had slept, buried beneath cold metal worlds. Machines older than any living species, silent guardians of a dead empire, now woke from their endless rest. They were not pirates. They were not raiders. They were not alive, yet not mindless. They were the Erythians, a machine race built for one purpose long ago: conquest, and they had awakened hungry. The first contact, the first to see them, was a survey fleet of the Avery, the feathered merchants. Their small ships entered a quiet system, searching for resources. The captains joked about finding treasure. Instead, they found death. The machines emerged from the shadows, ships of black metal, sharp as knives, moving with unnatural silence. They did not send greetings. They did not demand surrender. They simply attacked. The Avery fleet fought, but every move was predicted. Every defense was broken. The machines adapted to each tactic instantly. Within hours, the fleet was gone, and the system belonged to the Erythians. The few distress signals that reached the council carried one haunting message: they learn. They learn too fast. The council reacts when news reached the Galaxy Council, the chamber filled with fear. Delegates shouted, demanded answers, argued about strategy. The reptilian generals called for full military action. "We will crush these machines with our fleets." The Cryon lords insisted on strong walls. "Fortify the borders. They cannot pass our defenses." The insectoid queens demanded alliances. "Unite every army. Strike together." Plans were made. Orders were given. Fleets gathered at the border. The council moved with power but not with wisdom. The first battles. The fleets met the machines in open space. The battle began with confidence. Thousands of council ships formed shining walls of fire. Beams of light and missiles cut through the void. At first, the machines fell back. It seemed the council had the advantage. But then the truth became clear. The Erythians were not simply strong. They were adaptive. Every move the council made, the machines copied and countered. If the council used heavy weapons, the machines developed stronger shields. If the council spread wide, the machines used traps to divide them. By the second battle, the machines already fought better than the council. By the third, they were unstoppable. World after world fell. Colonies burned. Refugees fled in panic. The council chamber, once filled with pride, now shook with fear. The whisper of humans in the middle of this storm. Voices began to rise. A merchant cried, "If humans were here, they would find a trick, a new way." A soldier shouted, "Humans never fought by the book. That is what we need." Even some ambassadors whispered, "They laughed at humans, but humans would know how to fight this enemy." The high speaker dismissed these voices. "We do not need humans. We will endure. The council is eternal." But in private, doubt spread. Everyone remembered the pirates. Everyone remembered how humans had been the only ones who fought chaos with chaos. And now the galaxy faced the greatest chaos of all, the desperate meeting. The council held a secret session. The chamber was dark, shields raised to block spying ears. Reports were grim. The Erythians had already destroyed 4 fleets. 6 colonies were gone. "One major world was under siege. What do we do?" asked the aquatic ambassador, her voice trembling. "We must adapt faster," said a general. "But how?" "We cannot," admitted a scientist. "The machines learn too quickly. They are like humans, but without limits." The word hung in the air. Humans. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then the insectoid queen hissed, "We need them." The chamber erupted in protest. The Cryon lord slammed the floor with a crystal arm. "Never, they left." "They spat on this council." "They are reckless," said another. "They would only make things worse." But the aquatic ambassador whispered, "Without them, we are already losing. Perhaps the reckless are what we need." The breaking point, the Erythians struck again, this time at a council fortress world. The defenses were mighty, rings of cannons, shields layered thick, fleets stationed in orbit. The machines tore through it in days. Billions of lives were lost. The survivors spoke with hollow eyes. They knew every move we made. "They fight like us, but smarter." The galaxy shuddered. Fear turned into despair. And finally, the council could not hide from the truth. Their pride had led them to this disaster. Without human unpredictability, without human creativity, the galaxy was losing. The decision, in the council chamber, the high speaker floated silently. For once, its booming voice was quiet. The delegates stared at one another, their fear plain. The aquatic ambassador rose slowly. "We must call them back." Silence. The reptilian general snarled. "They will laugh at us." The Cryon lord's crystals cracked with anger. "They will demand too much." The insectoid queen clicked her mandibles. "Then let them." "Better shame than death," the high speaker finally spoke. "If we call them, they may refuse. Then we will beg," the aquatic ambassador said simply. The chamber, once full of arrogance, now bent under the weight of survival. At last a vote was taken. For the first time in history, the council agreed not on a law, not on a war, not on trade, but on a plea. They would ask humanity for help. Far away, while the council trembled, humanity had no part in these battles. Far beyond the borders, they built new lives. Their colonies grew, their fleets explored, their children laughed. They heard rumors of the council's troubles. Traders brought stories of machine fleets, of worlds burning, of the council struggling. But humanity did not rush back. They remembered the insults. They remembered the mockery. And so, when the council's envoys finally arrived at human space, ships decorated with banners of surrender, voices humble for the first time in centuries. They were not greeted with cheers, they were greeted with silence. The human leaders stood tall, their faces calm but hard. They listened to the council's words, pleas for aid, cries for help, confessions of mistakes. When the envoys finished, the human commander asked only one question: why should we return? The council ships approached the human space slowly, as if afraid to move too quickly. Each vessel carried a small delegation, ambassadors, generals, and scientists sent to beg for assistance. The human colonies had watched the council's struggles from afar, and now, for the first time in decades, the galaxy's most arrogant alliance humbled itself before humanity. When the council envoys landed on the main human station, silence greeted them. The station was bustling with life. Ships docked in precise order. Engineers moved with quiet purpose. Children ran through the corridors, and scientists worked at laboratories filled with strange new machines. But in the midst of all this activity, the humans did not rush to meet the council. They waited. Commander Daniel Reeve, older now but still steady and alert, led the humans in greeting the envoys. His eyes studied each delegate, noting the tension in their posture, the fear in their expressions. The high speaker floated forward first. Its voice, usually loud and commanding, was now careful and restrained. Humans, we are in peril. A machine race, ancient, powerful, unstoppable, has emerged at the edge of the galaxy. We cannot stop them. We failed. Alone, we are doomed. Daniel nodded slowly. I have heard of your failures, he said simply. His tone was calm, but there was an edge of steel in his voice. And I have heard your stories. Worlds lost, colonies burned, millions dead. The high speaker's glowing form pulsed dimly. Yes. And we, your council, come to you. We ask for your aid. Please help us. The room was quiet. The humans did not immediately answer. They did not rush to offer their fleets or their fleet's technology. They simply observed, silent, waiting. Finally, a human voice broke the silence. Why should we help you? The words were simple, direct, and cutting. The council envoys flinched. None had expected such honesty. Daniel spoke again. You insulted us. You mocked us. You dismissed our ideas, laughed at our inventions, and denied our efforts. You told us we were reckless and unfit to sit at your table. And now you come begging? The high speaker hesitated, its voice wobbling. We realize our mistakes. We now see what we lost. Please do not let pride prevent your mercy. A human diplomat stepped forward, her expression thoughtful. Mercy? She asked. We are not here to be merciful. We are here to protect life. Life we value, whether human or alien. But if we help, it will be on our terms, not yours. The council envoys were stunned. Their arrogance had not prepared them for such a response. Terms? The reptilian general barked. We are in danger. Accept our conditions. Daniel shook his head. No, you did not respect us when we were part of your council. Now we choose how we act. If humans return, it will be with strategy, not obedience. We will not be your tools. We will be your equals in this fight, or we will stay away entirely. Negotiations. Begin for days, the negotiations went on. Council delegates offered resources, promises, even control over joint fleets, hoping to persuade the humans. But humanity did not waver. They asked questions instead of agreeing. What is the extent of the machine threat? Asked Daniel. How have your fleets failed? Asked a human engineer, examining reports. What have you tried that did not work? Asked a strategist. The council could answer only partially. They admitted the failures, the rigid strategies, the inability to adapt. Each admission only strengthened humanity's position. Finally, after long discussions, Daniel spoke. We will help, but we do not fight for your pride, nor for your laws. We fight to protect lives. Your fleets will follow our plans, not the other way around. And we will move fast. There will be no waiting for approval. We act as humans act, decisively, creatively, and without fear. The council hesitated. This was not how they were used to command. But there was no choice. With the Erythians advancing, delay meant destruction. The human strategy, human engineers and tacticians began working immediately. They studied the reports, the failed battles, the weaknesses the council had tried to hide. They did not waste time with ceremonial fleets or protocol. They adapted. They built decoys, traps, and flexible fleets that could respond instantly to the machine's moves. Human medics prepared to treat injured aliens. Human diplomats reached out to smaller, overlooked species, recruiting their knowledge and courage for the fight. Everywhere humans touched, creativity and resourcefulness sparked. Within weeks, humans were ready. Their fleets moved silently through space, unpredictable and fast. Council fleets were given roles, but humans controlled the main strategy. The council delegates watched nervously, unused to such decisiveness. The first human victory. The first major engagement came near a sector the council had already abandoned. Thousands of machine ships approached, confident of an easy victory. Council fleets waited, but humans had a different plan. Human ships scattered. Some acted as bait, leading the Erythians into asteroid fields. Others struck from unexpected directions. Humans had learned to think like the enemy, predicting moves no council strategy could anticipate. In hours, the Erythians suffered their first serious losses. Their advance slowed. Council forces, inspired by human success, began to regain confidence. For the first time in months, hope returned. The council learns humility in the council chamber. Delegates watched the reports and broadcasts from the front. The victories were clear, undeniable. Humans were not just fighting. They were teaching, leading, adapting faster than any race had ever seen. Some whispered apologies. Others remained silent, too proud to speak. The High Speaker admitted quietly to the aquatic ambassador, "We underestimated them. We thought they were reckless children, and now we see they are the heart of strategy itself." The council had learned a painful truth. Humans had never been reckless in the sense they feared. They were fearless, creative, and relentless in protecting life. A moment of reflection. Far from the council, humans paused for a brief moment. Commander Daniel looked out of the command deck at the stars. The galaxy was vast, dangerous, and unpredictable, but humans did not fear it. They thrived in it. "Are we ready for what comes next?" asked his deputy. "We are humans," Daniel said simply. "We adapt, we endure, and we protect." That is enough. Every fleet, every colony, every human in the system prepared for the battles ahead. The council could only watch, humbled and in awe, as the humans they once mocked became the only hope for survival. And somewhere deep in the darkness of space, the Erythians learned what the galaxy had forgotten, that humans did not fight like anyone else. They fought with imagination. They fought with courage. They fought with heart. The galaxy was at the brink of disaster. Every sector trembled as the Erythians pushed forward, a wave of black metal and ruthless calculation. Council fleets were battered and scattered, and colonies burned. The once proud alliance was reduced to fear and confusion, and above all, humans prepared to act. Commander Daniel Reeves stood on the bridge of the flagship Endurance. The crew moved with precise efficiency, but unlike council fleets, they did not wait for orders at every step. Humans adapted to new information, created solutions on the fly, and shared ideas without hesitation. "Status?" Daniel asked. "All sectors reporting movement from the Erythians, but we've set the traps," replied his deputy. "They're walking right into our formation." A calm determination filled the room. Humans did not feel fear like other species, they felt purpose. Protect life, defend worlds, survive together. The final battle begins. The Erythians arrived in full force, expecting a weak opposition. Council ships lined up rigidly, ready to follow orders, but the humans had changed the rules. Human fleets scattered, drawing the machines into a labyrinth of decoys, feints, and hidden positions. Some ships feigned retreat, luring the Erythians into asteroid fields. Others moved unpredictably, striking from angles no council strategy had predicted. Machines adapted, but humans adapted faster. Every time the Erythians countered one tactic, another human tactic neutralized it. Engineers on the human ships modified weapons in real time. Medics treated injured aliens on the front lines. Tacticians communicated constantly, changing plans as needed. Council fleets, initially rigid, began to follow the humans' lead, seeing the advantage of flexibility and courage. Clever tactics, one human admiral, a young officer from Mars named Lena Cortez, devised a bold maneuver. She led a small fleet deep into enemy lines, appearing to be lost. The Erythians pursued, confident they had an easy victory. but Lena's fleet split into multiple smaller ships that launched hidden micro-drones. The drones disabled the Erythian shields silently, allowing the larger human ships to strike at their weak points. Within hours, a massive portion of the machine fleet was destroyed or disabled. From the Council's observation platforms, delegates could hardly believe what they were seeing. How is this possible?" muttered the Creon Lord. "They should not be able to do this." The answer was simple: humans did not follow rules. They did not fight like others. They thought differently, adapted instantly, and refused to surrender. The turning point, the tide of battle shifted. Council ships, inspired by human leadership, moved with renewed hope. Alien soldiers who had once doubted humanity now followed their commands willingly. Even the Council's high speaker, floating in its glass sphere, admitted quietly, They are what we needed all along." Across the galaxy, humans coordinated attacks simultaneously in multiple sectors. They did not hesitate. They did not argue. They acted as one, a living, thinking, breathing force of strategy, courage, and determination. And the Erythians, powerful as they were, began to falter. Their machines could adapt. Yes, but humans always had another solution, another angle, another surprise. The final strike. The climactic battle occurred near the system of Auralis Prime. The Erythians concentrated their forces here, hoping to crush human resistance and Council fleets at once. Daniel Reeve gave the order. "All fleets execute Operation Phoenix. No hesitation. Protect lives first, then destroy the enemy." Human ships divided into 3 main groups. The first group acted as bait, drawing the Erythians into the asteroid belt. The second group attacked from above and below, exploiting weak points in the machine's formation. The third group, hidden in stealth fields, struck at the command ships, targeting the central AI core. The Council watched, unable to command. They could only follow and hope. Hours passed. Explosions lit the void. Shields flared and collapsed. Machines fell one after another, caught in a web of human tactics. At last, the command core of the Erythians exploded in a blinding flash, sending waves of disabled machines drifting silently into space. The galaxy had survived. The aftermath silence followed the battle. For the first time in months, stars seemed calm. Colonies began rebuilding. Refugees returned to their homes. Trade routes reopened. Life, fragile but persistent, had endured. The Council, humbled beyond measure, began to understand. Their arrogance had blinded them to the true value of humanity. In the High Speaker's chamber, the leaders spoke quietly among themselves. They were never reckless, admitted the aquatic ambassador. They saved us. "We dismissed them," said the Cryon Lord, crystal arms trembling. "We laughed, and we nearly lost everything." The insectoid queen clicked her mandibles softly. "We must never forget this lesson. Human's choice." Meanwhile, humanity did not claim glory. They had fought not for praise, not for control, but for life. When Council envoys approached to offer positions, honors, and power, Daniel Reeve smiled gently. "We do not fight for councils," he said. "We fight because life matters. The galaxy is bigger than pride, bigger than law. We remain independent. We choose where we go, what we protect, and who we trust. That is how humans act." The Council tried to argue, tried to insist that humans rejoin, tried to demand gratitude. But humanity had learned that respect must be earned, not forced. A lesson for the galaxy. The story of humanity spread quickly. Every species in the galaxy, from the smallest trader to the oldest noble, spoke of the humans who fought machines no one else could defeat. They did not fight perfectly. They did not follow rules. But they never stopped, never surrendered, and never allowed fear to dominate action. The galaxy realized the truth that the Council had refused to see for decades. Humans were not reckless. Humans were inventive, adaptable, courageous, and relentless. They were a spark that could ignite hope in darkness. And the Council understood a bitter lesson. The day humans left was the day they had truly learned what they had lost. The future begins. Human fleets returned to their colonies. Children played under alien suns. Engineers built new technologies, and explorers prepared for journeys deeper into the unknown. The galaxy was safe, but it had been forever changed. The Council was humbled. Every race now understood that humans were extraordinary, not because they were strongest, but because they refused to give up. In the vast silence of space, Commander Daniel looked out at the stars. The machines had fallen. Life had survived. Humanity had proven what they were capable of. And somewhere deep in the council halls, leaders whispered among themselves, "The galaxy underestimated us." But it will never forget humanity again. Humans did not return to the council. They did not demand accolades. They simply continued onward. Explorers of the stars, protectors of life, and the spark that reminded the universe of what courage, creativity, and heart could achieve. The galaxy had been saved, not by rules, not by pride, not by strength alone, but by the humans who refused to stop fighting for what was right.